Hello everyone and welcome to this audio podcast today. This audio podcast as part of the Serology and Squil. This audio podcast as part of the Hustle and Serotype. This audio podcast as part of a Defcon premiere, and this audio podcast as part of a Storm Robotics production. So continuing on in looking at transplant immunobiology and idiosyncrasy. CXCR3 is induced and maintained by interleukin 2 or IL-2, but inhibited by activation through the CD3 complex, whereas CCR3 expression requires the synergistic effects of interleukin 2 and interleukin 4, IL-2 and IL-4. CCR5 is upregulated by T helper cell types 1 cytokines, but can be expressed by interleukin 10 or IL-10. For T cells, activation through T cell receptor stimulation triggers for T cells, activation through T cell receptor stimulation triggers a decrease in expression of CCR1, CCR2, CCR3, and CCR5. Increased expression of CCR7, CCR8, and CXCR5. Additionally, experimental investigations have informed that condition-specific changes in levels of CXCR3, CCR4, and CXCR4 are and have been identified. Secondary lymph organs also play a critical or important roles in the initiation of immune responses by serving as sites where naive T cells and B cells become activated through interactions with circulating memory cells and maturing dendritic cells arriving from sites of inflammation. Human immature dendritic cells derived from monocytes express the inflammatory chemokine receptors CXCR1, CCR1, CCR2, and CCR5, which allow cells to follow chemotactic gradients to inflammatory sites. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast is part of a Serology and Squil. This audio podcast is part of a Hustle and Serotype. This audio podcast as part of a Defcon premiere. And this audio podcast is part of a Storm Robotics production.